We understand that Manchester United are edging closer to the signing of Mbeumo. The talks between the two clubs over a deal that's worth about 60 million. They're progressing now, and actually Manchester United ideally want to confirm Mbeumo before they return for pre-season on July the 7th. He's already agreed personal terms with them, and actually, they've already paid 62.5 million for Matheus Cunha. If they bring Mbeumo in as well, the attention will then turn towards recruiting a number 9 for Ruben Amorim. So all the attention at the moment is at that top end of the pitch for Manchester United. It would be a club record sale for Brentford to, we brought the news yesterday that they're set to appoint Keith Andrews as the replacement for Thomas Frank. At the moment, that deal is edging closer for Mbeumo. That Barca are exploring a loan move for Marcus Rashford, which doesn't really make it much more concrete. But he's obviously one of Manchester United's highest paid players. He earns in excess of 320,000 a week. So Manchester United realised that finding a club to sign him permanently, the chances of that are still quite slim, just because there aren't many clubs that can afford those wages. So you might see a similar situation to the one with Villa, where Manchester United pay some of those wages and Barca pay some. But I mean, we understand that Hansi Flick likes Rashford because of his versatility. But the interesting thing about this is that he would be in addition to their top target, which is Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao, who also plays on the left-hand side. So you'd have Rafinha there, you'd have Nico Williams, and then Rashford in addition to that. Wow. So, when you think about the game time that Rashford would probably want in a World Cup year, be competitive, won't it?
He's not going to get a game.
Manchester United have set a new transfer fee for Chelsea to sign Alejandro Garnacho this summer, according to reports. Garnacho is one of several players United want to sell during this summer's transfer window to trim Ruben Amorim's squad and make room for incoming signings. Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans were all released at the end of the season. Garnacho is one of a number of players that have been put up for sale alongside the likes of Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho and Antony. The cast and circumstances are different, but the brewing tension between Ruben Amorim and Alejandro Garnacho is already drawing parallels with another ugly standoff that engulfed the club not long ago. Jadon Sancho's very public falling out with Erik ten Hag in August 2023 signalled the end of his time at the club, even if United are still scrambling to remove him from their books. The former Borussia Dortmund winger was accused of failing to meet the required standards in training, something Garnacho is certainly not guilty of, with Amorim praising the Argentine for his determination and eagerness to adapt to his methods earlier this year. But openly challenging his manager's decisions is a rotten look. We will never know what might have happened had Garnacho started against Tottenham, but the winger has been as guilty as anyone of missing big chances this season. Arguing he has played every round of the knockout stages leading to the final is a valid one, but just one goal in the Europa League this season suggests Amorim's decision had its own merits. Garnacho can and should be doing more, something he and his brother may have overlooked as the red mist descended last night. The bigger picture is Garnacho has openly defied his manager at a moment where the club is reeling, staggering towards the end of a disastrous season that has broken records in mediocrity. United cannot afford to let the tension draw out like it did between Sancho and Ten Hag. And with the club desperate to raise additional funds in the summer transfer window, one of their tougher decisions may have just got a little easier.
Including the star shirt shrift fuming Manchester United want Garnacho gone. Alejandro Garnacho's Manchester United future looks to be over, particularly after one of his holiday pictures included him wearing a Marcus Rashford Aston Villa shirt. Jack, quite frankly, it's looked like the writing is on the wall for Alejandro Garnacho well before this, in terms of him talking after that Europa League final about being disappointed and surprised that he didn't play longer, wasn't included, ironically, against Villa on the final day of the season. I think he knows before he's put this shirt on that he's done at United, doesn't he?
Yeah, we've all known from some time which way it's going, really. I think the last cruel blow almost was taking him on that post-season tour where he looked incredibly unhappy and caused a bit of trouble, I think, along with a couple of other players. It's quite a sad ending from Garnacho, I think, really. He's clearly a very talented player, and having come through to some point the academy, he's someone that the fans would have absolutely latched on to, someone that can make a difference in games. He's obviously not been as consistent as everyone would have liked, but it's clear that there's a talent there, and for the right price, they will absolutely have a market for him. But these are the sort of players that Manchester United should be harnessing and building the future around. And it just feels like, whether it's the player's attitude or not, but you've had issues with Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho over the last few years now, and whether it's all, it might be too much of a coincidence for all three of them to have a serious attitude problem. It must be something to do with the way the club are managing these players and looking after them, and whether it's in terms of the discipline around them or anything like that, is something they need to get a handle on, because these are some clearly talented players that will be playing elsewhere and will make Manchester United look a bit silly if they go on and succeed incredibly elsewhere. But I think for Garnacho, it's probably maybe a little parting shot, having the way it's all fallen out in the last 6 months or so under Ruben Amorim. But we've all known for a while he's going elsewhere, and if somebody can get that management of him right, there's so many fees that have gone around. I think it says 45 million on the back of one of those papers, and it's been up to 70 elsewhere. I don't know if you get 70 for him, but if you can get Garnacho for 45 and get him playing to the level that everyone knows he's got on a consistent basis, then that could be a fantastic deal for someone.
Well, I just wonder, Ihsan, actually, about the point about the fee, to whether Manchester United are even more irked by a stunt like this, because you're sort of playing into the hands of the clubs that might want him in terms of the price, because they say, well, you clearly don't want this guy around if he's going to sit and cause trouble as he is. You want him nowhere near the training ground, and that might knock a few million quid off the price tag, because you know how desperate Manchester United are becoming to get rid of him.
Yeah, the minute he's posted that picture, you'll have known the effect it would have had. There was already question marks around his potential character, attitude around the team and squad. So posting a picture like that is only going to make matters much worse for both him and Man United. And it's a sorry state of affairs. He's clearly a very talented young player who's on his day. We've seen what he can do in a football pitch. So it's a real shame that that's ended up coming to this in the end. And as Jack was saying, it's obviously there's the problems with Rashford, between Amorim and Rashford, Sancho, and now Garnacho. So in some ways, getting the three out the exit door could possibly, obviously, improve the culture and the mood around the dressing room. But from a Man United perspective, they need to get good figures for each of the players. For example, with